Putin's enablers are. Who's involved in this conflict? Who's part of his inner circle? Well, l'eminence grise of Putin's camarilla is Yevgeniy Prigozhin. Even though he doesn't hold an official position, Prigozhin is known as Putin's chef because Prigozhin is a restaurateur and a caterer as well. So he was also born in St. Petersburg, just like Putin, although he's 9 years younger than Putin. Anyway, like quite a few people Putin is fond of, this guy went to prison in the Soviet era for robbery. But then in the early 90s, he started with a hot dog stall and built up his business to some high-end restaurants. So he certainly got the entrepreneurial spirit and got to hand him to that for his success. But even though he's a multi-millionaire, as he said, he's not too proud to actually serve diners himself, even now. And he's got the contract to provide food to all the schools in St. Petersburg, which is obviously a very lucrative one. So he's been doing very well. But there have been complaints that sometimes his food has been substandard, or even some of the children have got food poisoning. But he's incredibly wealthy, almost inexplicably wealthy, given what's known about his businesses. It's thought that he is behind Wagner Group, which is a Russian private military company, i.e. mercenaries. Now, being a mercenary is a crime in Russia, yet Wagner Group operates openly. Obviously, they can't be too frank about what their operations are, but yes, all their bases are there. Wagner Group mercenaries are almost all former Russian soldiers. A few of them are Belarusian or even Serbian. They've been fighting in Syria, in Libya, in the Central African Republic, in Mali, in Mozambique, in various places. So some people think it's just an unofficial part of the Russian army because they're allowed to operate without hindrance by the government, indeed with the government's imprimatur, the government doesn't actually say so. So there's supposedly plausible deniability. They can disclaim all responsibility for anything they do. And they're fighting in Ukraine as well. But now Prigozhin claims to have no connection with Wagner Group whatsoever. It's widely rumoured that he's involved in the Internet Research Agency, that group which tried to did hack the Democratic National Committee and the Hillary Clinton campaign, Emmanuel Macron's campaign to be elected president of France, and so forth. So Prigozhin is under sanctions for various things from the United States. He's been charged with various crimes in the United States. There is no extradition treaty between Russia and the United States. The FBI's got him on its list of wanted people, things like that. So anyway, how is he so wealthy? Isn't it very curious indeed? And he's given support to Putin's pets abroad, to Maria Butina, this Russian lady who was in prison for being an unregistered foreign agent in American politics, to Saif Gaddafi, as in the son of the late Libyan tyrant Muammar Gaddafi, and so on. So Prigozhin, he also provides food for the Russian military. And one of the many complaints these luckless Russian soldiers have had in Ukraine is that they were provided with an insufficiency of rations, and often that they were very poor quality, and it ran out. So that's why they had to go pilfering from supermarkets, or would that be requisition from supermarkets? I do realise, I mean, people say intra armes NMC led leges, which I don't completely agree with, but some things in war you couldn't usually normally do. We're just going to have to commandeer this food, and I wouldn't actually blame the Russian soldiers for doing that. But the rations that they were issued with, in some cases, these ration packs apparently said expired in 2015. Other people got E. coli from them. So he's made a lot of these Russian soldiers ill. No wonder they're demoralized. And so perhaps the Ukrainians ought to give Prigozhin a medal, because he may have killed more Russian soldiers than any Ukrainian general. Well, I jest. I don't know that anyone's actually died from eating his food. But this is the kind of person that Putin likes. He doesn't care about ordinary Russians at all, Putin. Why would he let someone get public money for providing such a poor service? And these troops are mere cannon fodder for him. So there's this a shadowy multimillionaire. He makes well over $1 billion a year from supplying meals to the Russian military, and $1 billion goes a very long way in Russia. So Putin tends to trust people who are also from St. Petersburg, like himself. There is there's a strong rivalry between St. Petersburg and Moscow. So at least three of the other people in the National Security Council are also from St. Petersburg, although one of them grew up there, wasn't actually born there. But Prigozhin is actually not. He's not in the National Security Council. He's never been in the Russian Parliament. He's never been a government minister, anything like that. So he's got a renowned restaurant on a boat in the river Neva in the middle of St. Petersburg. So he often he can produce excellent meals when he wants to, providing for banquets which are held at the Kremlin and things like that. So I don't know why there are these persistent rumors linking him to Wagner, and I don't have any hard evidence that he really is behind Wagner. He's even had media outlets and so on. So it tells you a lot about Putin, that he would like this sort of person, even though this guy is doing no good for Russian troops. Now, going for the middle range of the estimates of how many Russian soldiers have been killed, it's 7,000 killed, and this war, by my computation, has been on for 23 days now. So 7,000, you'd reckon on 3 wounded for every 1 killed, 21,000 wounded. So that between killed and wounded, that's about 28,000. A few captured on top of that, some of whom are sound rather than wounded. So something like 30,000 Russian casualties out of an invasion force of 200,000. That's about 15% of their invasion force, which is fairly high this far into it. You know, the point is, if they carry on this rate for say 6 weeks, they'll have no Russian soldiers left. Now, you can send in reinforcements. You need to rotate people out, because before the invasion, these men were living in vehicles or tents for up to 3 months, and they're debilitated, as a deleterious effect on their mental and their physical health. And they're a bit too traumatized, post-traumatic stress disorder. Bring in other troops, are going to have to call up reserves. The Ukrainians may well have the numerical advantage right now, because when they mobilize all their reserves, they've got 900,000 troops. Moreover, some civilians have volunteered for the military and actually serving in a combat role, not just, say, driving supply trucks. Because remember, most Ukrainian men have done their compulsory military service. So all Ukrainian males 18 to 60 are not permitted to leave the country, have to stay to fight. Some of them have some sort of auxiliary role. They can be helping the military in an ancillary manner by just, well, driving trains or whatever, or they're working as doctors or something. And some women have volunteered to fight. About 30,000 foreigners have volunteered to fight for Ukraine. Not all of them have arrived yet. Some of them will volunteer but actually never show up. Some of them might be found to be unsuitable, sent back. And the Ukrainians have said, this is not a holiday. Yeah, you can't fight for a week and go home. No, you have to commit for at least a year. But anyway, so it's a real headache for Russia, and is going to have to start calling up reserves and moving forward reserves themselves. I do hope the Ukrainians are going to be issued with gas masks, because I would guess a chemical weapon or a biological weapon is going to be Putin's next move. If it's a nuclear weapon, there's nothing you can do to guard against that. Chemical warfare suits, that's awfully expensive. You know, over 30 million of them would need to be issued, considering, okay, 3 million Ukrainians have fled Ukraine, more in the process of fleeing, and some Ukrainians are pro-Russian or on that side. And isn't it notable that over 3 million have fled west and only about 150,000 have fled east? You see where the danger is coming from. It's from Russia. It's not the so-called non-existent Nazis in Ukraine trying to kill Russian speakers. Zelensky is a native speaker of Russian. The brother and mother tongue speakers of Russian. Kharkiv is an overwhelmingly Russophone city, and yet they're being slaughtered by Putin. Oh, I recognize that photo, Yuri Bez, Liberando Hunter, of that Russian KGB guy who defected to Canada in the 1980s. He served in India. I've seen interviews with him. Thanks for watching. Toodaloo, everyone.